the kind
Yeah.
of loyalty that you can build with long form, right? And the kind of authority that you can have with long form, short form doesn't really compare to that, right?
I mean, it's very simple. You're not telling any story in short form.
Yeah.
You're a storyteller in long form.
Just look at this, 49 million views.
You earn
Absolutely.
like around 8 cents
Right.
per thousand views on shorts, and you earn $8 per thousand views for a video. So you need to consider this as well. Of course, the revenue matters for a
Right.
creator.
Look at what happens in November show. This just blows my mind and shows me the power of
I
short form
mean,
content.
for Chaheti, for example, I don't think she has to spend much of her time on creating videos. She's just shooting, let's say, one video might take 2 hours from pre-production to production. So you're set to go. But when you're Max Miller, you have to become a brand. You're a kind of a storyteller. You have to be constantly traveling. You're looking for history lessons. Rooted in Spice channel is getting almost 10 times average likes per post,
Wow.
almost again 10 times views per video, but getting half of the average comments.
It's been more than a couple of years now where we've been introduced to a whole new way of consuming videos, right? Because if you think about it, when you used to consume videos on your phone, it used to be horizontal, right? You used to switch the orientation of your phone just to watch a video, plain and simple. But then, before the pandemic, but it really grew in the pandemic, was the rise of short form content. And this happened through multiple apps, through TikTok, Instagram Reels came up, and obviously YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts is a particularly interesting product. If you go to your YouTube app right now, YouTube Shorts is pretty much prioritized when it comes to the tab below. Now, the topic today for Creator Deep Dive is actually not on one particular creator. We're going to be speaking about two creators who have wildly different short strategies. In fact, one of them doesn't even have a short form strategy, but they're doing quite well. But before we talk about these creators and what numbers and insights we're going to get to you on this week's episode of Creator Deep Dive on Thousand Faces Club, I want to say hi to Shubham. Shubham, how's it going?
Hi, Shri. So, I mean, it depends. If you want me to introduce myself in a short form video or a long form video, the
I think
introduction is
I
usually
think
long,
I
right?
think Shubham, we've been, and for listeners and for viewers of Creator Deep Dive, they know that we do some solid long form, again, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That's what we aim for. It's dependable how you look at it, whether or not you can call it long form. But yes, it's definitely more than a 30-second video or a 1 minute video. Shubham, always great to have you here as well. But man, very interesting topic because such different takes. I don't think right at the outset, I don't think we're going to find a clear answer. But I think what we will find, though, Shubham, is that these two creators, right? We're talking about FoodTube, which is personally one of my favorite corners of YouTube, right? Because I love consuming. It's a whole pattern. I'm sure y'all will agree.
Yeah.
It's a whole pattern where you're having dinner, where you're having lunch. You're like, oh, I don't know what to watch. Let me watch other people having food, other people making food. So right, it's a very big cathartic moment for me. So I'm glad that I'm getting to speak about food creators. But two particular food creators, Shubham, that we're going to be speaking about, right? One is Rooted in Spice. Her name's Chahezi, and the other is Tasting History. His name is Max Miller, right? So these are two creators. We'll be sort of going head to head, and we'll be really scrounging through their strategies, what they felt, and also this time around in this episode, we're trying something new. We'll be looking at their numbers, right? We'll be deeply going into this with some very special tools that we have. So we'll be doing that. But Shubham, I want to get a slight introduction from you for FoodTube. If you have a
Yeah.
FoodTube story like mine where you like consuming it, and also a bit about how you discovered these two creators and your initial thoughts about them.
So, yeah, I mean, history is something I'm deeply passionate about. And when I looked at the channel Tasting History, it sort of had that feeling of the History Channel, the
Yeah.
colors,
Yeah.
the golden,
The
yellowish, and
Browns. Yeah. Yeah.
storytelling.
Yeah.
And he's basically picking up a dish. He's
Yeah.
talking about the history of the dish, the people who created those dishes, and
Right.
the traditions around them, festivities around them. So yeah, I was drawn into his content the minute I saw his channel. But Rooted in Spice is something that I recently came across thanks
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, all shorts, no long
All
form
shots.
videos. Weird experience, I would say,
Yeah.
because
It's
it's not. I
yeah.
mean, I find it very difficult to get into the comment section of a short.
Yeah.
short video shorts. It's
Sure.
not really,
Sure. Sure.
easy,
It's not
because on
because
a
the
long
video
form, of
gets
course,
hidden. Yeah.
yeah, in the long form, your first instinct is to, okay, the video is playing now. Let me just scroll down
Correct.
and read
Correct.
some
Correct.
comments. It's not there on the shorts,
Yeah.
and so yeah, kind of very different feel.
Yeah.
Both very successful channels.
Both very successful.
One is doing, one is acing short form. Another one is, doing proper history lessons through, cooking
Yeah.
on his channel. So fascinating, two polars, like two poles
Yeah,
apart.
polar opposites, absolutely. Like
Yep.
they're poles apart, and for me, I actually discovered Rooted in Spice. I actually love her branding and what she's done with the entire thing. And the name itself is very nice because it's literally Rooted in Spice. She stays abroad, right? She's, I think, stays in the
Yeah.
US, and obviously we'll be going to the demographics as well. But she appeals to a lot of her flavors and her cuisines, and what she prepares is a homage to Indian flavors. And it, although she stays abroad, but her flavors are literally rooted in
Yeah.
spice, which I really
Correct.
like. So I discovered her through the shorts feed. For me, for Max, who's tasting history, again, I'm very fascinated by it, but I actually discovered him through this one particular video, which is one of his most popular ones, which was, a meal at the RMS Titanic, which was obviously the Titanic
Oh
of,
yeah,
of lore of,
fascinating.
of, of the 20th century, as to what they had there, what is the menu. And that to me was an extremely fascinating thing, Shubham, because I don't know what they had on the Titanic. They certainly didn't have like a mac and cheese or like a Mac Maharaja burger or whatever of that sort. So that got me interested. So that's my sort of background. I think I'm super pumped to compare how these two creators look at their look at their strategies, look at their numbers.
Yep.
So yeah, let's see. Let's decide which tool do we want to see first.
Uh, let's take a look at Social Blade.
Let's do it. Okay,
Yep.
so
Let's the
if we go to
go-to tool for all the numbers, insights.
absolutely, absolutely. So we're
By the way,
gonna
this
be
video is not sponsored by Social Blade.
yeah.
We have to mention it. Although we are
Absolutely, I think
open for it. Yeah.
right. But I think let's start with Chaheti, who's actually behind Rooted in Spice. Let's start with her, um, you know, her social
Yep.
blade, and I think my screen is also visible,
Yep.
right? So this is what I was talking about, which is like so this interestingly for people watching this abroad as well. This is a very typical. Like a spice box that you find in Indian kitchens, right? Which you have your haldi, your mirchi, all these are masalas or spices which are a
Hmm.
part of every Indian kitchen, and that's part of a branding, which I really appreciate, which I really enjoy.
That's a good catch. I
Yeah.
completely missed it. Yeah.
I think that's a very nice little touch that she's made. So
Yep.
Shubham, she is basically right now she's at a B plus, right? So B, they have their whole SB ranking system, which is based on the entire database. So B plus is pretty good, not the best, but it's still a
I
pretty
mean, we
good.
don't know how they are ranking these.
Yeah,
How they
yeah,
are
we
bringing
don't know
these
how it is,
rankings.
but
So
B plus would be like a okay, like it's like a 6 or 7, I
yeah,
think.
it's not
On
A, but yeah,
yeah, it's
fine.
not A. It's certainly not A. But Shubham, if you were to look at this, right, like if you were to just have a quick look at, although yes, her subscribers for the last 30 days have gone down, but and her views also sort of low because she hasn't been posting that regularly. But if you look at the video views, I think some really really interesting overall video views that we are seeing here. Right, your daily averages, your weekly averages, some really healthy numbers that we're going through in
Yeah.
terms of her subscriber count is, of course, as I mentioned, hasn't grown exponentially, but at the same time we're going through very interesting video views, right? In just a matter of a few days you're really increasing the number of video views that you're getting. So definitely the short strategy here is working, Shubham, where people are not just consuming her latest shot, but perhaps a shot that she's created even in the past, right? Even if it's something that she
Yeah,
did
yeah,
like
yeah, definitely. I
two
mean,
two months
our
ago.
most our most popular shot is like 64 million views. It stands at
Exactly,
64 million.
exactly,
That's like that
exactly.
sink in. Yeah.
Let that sink in for sure. And if you look at this, Shivam, a very interesting trend which I noticed as well was, and we always speak about how shorts can go viral more than a long form video can, because long form obviously takes time, and shorts, it's pretty much then everybody's feed. I want you to look at this very interesting thing that I wanted to focus on, which is something that happened in November, right? And it can be mapped out through which
Hmm.
video went popular. But just look at this lift that you have in the month of weekly gain. You so literally while you're at even in September you're gaining about 735,000 views, and then look what happens in November. It is just insane what the rise is. Just look at this: 49 million views, video views for the month of October. And then November was even better at 53. So certainly what happened here is that you have a rise in subscribers, right? So here, if you look at it, she has 8,000 subscribers, which is not a lot, right? Like on Creator Deep Dive, we really don't speak about creators who have 8,000 subscribers. They're pretty much under the radar. They're growing, and we obviously want to support them. But then look at what happens in November show. This just blows my mind and shows me the power
Yeah,
of
I
short form
mean,
content.
yeah, I mean, both of these channels are quite new,
Yeah, yeah,
for the record. And I
yeah,
think this is where, like, around September, I think she started this channel. And right from the first video, I think she went viral.
yeah. I
So
think
I'm not
you know.
sure if this is like, if, I mean, it tells us that her content is working from the very beginning.
Correct, correct. And this upliftment that's there, I think it certainly went viral. And of course, since then the growth has slowed down. So the number of subscribers she's gaining, right, it
Yeah.
has slowed down. But this curve, this peak that was there, I think it's really, really admirable and shows that if you're perhaps starting from the ground up, which is like
Yep.
she started in pretty much in 2021, she was experimenting with stuff. But to get that, we always speak about Shubham how it's a long game, it's a consistent game, which is all true, which is all important. But this kind of an exponential rise really tells me that short form still has a place, right? I think some
I
very
mean,
interesting.
it also talks about how random sometimes YouTube can be.
Yeah,
It's like, I recently interviewed Scott Carney on a
sure.
fireside chat, and he said that,
Yeah,
uh, it's very hard to please the YouTube gods. You don't know
yeah.
what's going to go, viral. You have to be lucky sometimes. Because
Correct.
if you look at her videos, she has made 74 videos so
Right,
far.
right.
All of them are quite similar,
Quite similar.
right? Like Indian recipes, uh, shown to an American audience.
Yeah,
Then why one video is not working and the 10th video worked?
correct,
So,
correct. It's
I
like
mean, with
you're throwing
shorts,
darts at the
yeah,
board.
it's very fuzzy. I mean, we saw that curve, right? It went
Yeah,
really high, but then again it subsided. So she's making same videos, same length, same kind of narration, same
yeah.
kind of recipes. One works, others don't. So I don't know
Others don't. Absolutely.
if
No,
we
that.
can draw any, lessons.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. What we can derive from the numbers. And speaking about numbers, Shubham, let's definitely look at tasting history, right? Which is the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
channel
yeah.
that's there on
Let's
our
do that.
on our show today. Who's Max Miller again? Very popular, new but popular, I would say. So let's quickly have a look at his numbers, really. Right, and we have some advertising here. But if you look at his numbers, Shubham, again, you're seeing a very consistent, not a lot of rise in the number of subscribers, right? It's literally not even visible on most cases. Video views have been healthy. They've not been too
Yeah,
much, but they've been healthy. They've not been that consistent like how Shaheti is doing with Root and Spice. But look at this, right? I really want to focus on this part, which is monthly gained video views for tasting history with Max Miller.
nice. Yeah,
So this, I think, Shivam, is the power of the back catalog, right? And this is something
correct.
that which we didn't really find with Chayati's content, but here, if you notice it, slowly but steadily, he is gaining more and more. And again, this is not the absolute number of video views, but this is the gain that you're having in terms of the video views month on month,
Yeah,
right? So,
cascading
so
effect is quite visible. Yeah,
it's very visible, and that to me, Shubham, is very evident of the fact that we are looking at it like when people are going to a long form feed, it's very
yeah,
accessible to look at other videos, right? Like you can delve into this. Okay, I really like this, I really want to try out the content. In shorts, as you mentioned, it's very random, so you don't really have a catalog. It's like a waterfall, right? Something makes it to the
yeah,
waterfall of your algorithm, great. But here, for me, this is a much more reliable and much more safer number that I'm looking at when it comes to
yeah,
the number of views, right? So it's a constantly you're going on a rising rate, and it's been going well for him, right? It's been going quite well
yeah.
for
I
him
mean,
ever since Jan of
it
21.
tells us that shorts have a shelf life,
Yeah, yeah,
whilst videos don't. So,
absolutely.
I mean, if you're not following, Chaheti, you might not, come across her shorts. But if you're
Mm.
interested in history, let's say, you will certainly come across this guy if you're interested
Correct.
in history plus cooking.
Correct, correct, correct. So I
So
think it's a
that's,
great
yeah,
intersection that he sort of cracked and Chaiti's videos. Some might be very popular, you might have seen her on your shorts feed, but then again, for you to actually keep on viewing her channel is difficult. Let's look at also his monthly gained subscriber show. I'm also looking at these two charts if there are any similarities here. What I think happened here pretty much of them, which is the month of June, right? And exactly, so that's also June as well. So I think this is in June is where the creator sort of took a break, because clearly you see that there's a dip, right? So that means that people weren't reminded. So I think a big lesson for creators here, and this is something that I've also learned through my shows and through all the series that I've done, is that whenever you're publishing a new episode of anything, you're not just going to be publishing that episode, you're also giving a chance for your previous episodes to have a new life,
Yeah, true,
right? You're
true.
also giving a chance
Yeah.
of your catalog, which is why the entire concept of a catalog of content is so important, right? So I think that
Yeah.
becomes a very interesting play here, is that every time you keep uploading, sure, that video is going to do well, hopefully, but you're also giving a chance to your previous videos to do really well. So I think that, to me, has been really interesting, is to see how their entire journeys have been different, I would say, again, because of their strategies, because they're so diametrically opposite. Even the numbers that you see, and even the way the graph has been changing and shape shifting, has also
I
been
think that's
different.
what
But
happened here. You
yeah,
can see the views are fairly consistent, but
yeah,
subscribers are not. So that people have, I guess, watched the, earlier catalog and
yeah,
they stayed with the channel. Yeah.
they stay with the channel, right? So I think that hold that long form has, and we always speak about the Shubham when we're creating long form as well, and I myself am primarily a long form creator, is that the kind
Yeah.
of loyalty that you can build with long form, right, and the kind of authority that you can have with long form, short form doesn't really compare to that, right? Because short form is just
I
like a
mean, it's
hit.
very,
Yeah,
it's very simple. You're not telling any story in short form.
yeah, yeah,
You're a storyteller in long form. And
right,
I did a very thorough analysis of the comments on both of these,
right,
types of contents. So tasting history gets,
right,
basically he's telling stories, and he
sure,
gets, stories in the comments. People are telling their stories. Okay, I went to Vienna once. I ate this
yeah,
pizza at this pizzeria. This person in the comments will tell that, oh, I live very close to that. Since my childhood, I've been going there and there. So you're telling stories. You're getting stories of out of other people. But on shorts, you're just giving them some information
yeah,
or a reference point, maybe how to
yeah,
make a, let's say a dish. People will
yeah,
come
yeah,
quickly, and that's exactly why it's quite fascinating that, unlike other cooking channels, Rooted in Spice has almost 74% female viewership,
exactly, exactly,
and
which
the
to me is
and the
mind blowing.
average, yeah, because the average is around 55 45, 55 being the male
Correct,
audience, 44 45 being the female audience.
absolutely.
And on the other hand, the tasting history channel has 70% male audience. So does that mean males are more interested in storytelling? I'm not saying that. So,
I mean,
but
I think clearly, what my understanding of the Shubham is that Chaheti has really, really catered to her audience, and we were talking about audience, right? This is insightIQ, of course, which is a great tool for understanding the gender audience, and the performance and the growth and interest of these
yep,
creators, and giving a very interesting overview, which other platforms really don't do. So I think it's a really interesting tool here, and as you were mentioning, Shubham, 73% are female. I think for me, again, representation really matters. Where if people are watching her cook some things, and especially the NRI crowd, right? Like look at this geographic
yeah,
segmentation as well. You have the United States, but you have India at a very solid 25%. So perhaps
yeah,
people who are
and
like
I
in
bet,
their, yeah,
yeah, and I bet most of these views coming out of India are of women,
absolutely,
because it's
absolutely,
it's sort of a reference point. You're just going back to watch a certain recipe how it's being made,
correct, correct,
and
correct,
because in certain cultures women are cooking more than other cultures, then maybe that's why this
right.
channel has more female viewership. Yeah,
Absolutely, and she's really. I think Chaiti has really managed to make cooking and the way the entire process is done. It's so effortless, right?
yeah,
It's also got a very mid-20s feel to it, where okay, she's graduated from college, she's probably doing her
yeah,
first job, and she's appealing to a lot of women who are, let's say, working professionals, right? Because she does mention that she has a working that she enjoys cooking, not just for the how we've traditionally seen, oh, okay, cooking as an act of like okay, that you're sitting at home and cooking. No, cooking is something that she genuinely enjoys as a
yeah,
form. It's an art form, really,
and
and
it
that
shows.
really
You're right.
shows. and that
Yeah.
that really shows exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that is very interesting. Her numbers. Look at this as well, Shubham. And it's always a great way to understand the trajectory of creators,
Yeah.
right? So subscribers, if you look at a monthly trend, right, and these are absolute numbers, so it's hovering around that 805k to 807k mark. And in June, she was at 680. So clearly, it's gone a very nice, healthy curve,
Steadily. Yeah.
right? It's steadily going up. Likes as well, right? Likes are also pretty important. And speaking
Growing.
about
Yeah.
likes, if you've been enjoying this video of Creator Deep Dive so far, make sure you hit that like button. It's right there somewhere below. It really helps us as well make these videos for you. So the likes as well have been quite heavily rising, right? You of
Impressive.
course
Yeah.
had flat lines here, but then you had a great increase here. So I'm pretty happy with how Cherry's doing, and you have some of her popular videos as well. So Inside IQ also gives
Yeah.
you a interesting way of overviewing the most popular YouTube videos that she has. And clearly tarboos ki sabzi or watermelon and gravy is certainly something that people got the fancy of,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
And
A
you,
40%
yeah,
engagement
and you
rate.
know what, Shri, if you look at the performance,
Yeah,
this is really fascinating
yeah.
because I have the Inside IQ page for tasting history opened on my end, and I can tell you, uh, Rooted in Spice channel is getting almost 10 times average likes per post,
Wow.
almost again 10 times views per video, but getting half of the average comments.
Half of the average comments.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Now,
Okay.
I mean, how is it happening? I don't know again. But again, I think to my earlier point, like it's really hard to get to the comment section of a short, let's say
Yeah,
catalog.
correct.
So you're getting 10 times the average views, you're getting the 10 times the average number of likes, but you're
Hmm.
just getting half of the comments per
Half
video.
of the
I
comments.
mean, look at this. Yeah.
This is really fascinating. Engagement rate is really different here. So I think again, a very very interesting thing that you've observed, Shubham, and I think we've made a very interesting breakthrough is the whole relationship that comments have with short form and long form. Like comments itself is such an important metric, right? Like it's a qualitative way of understanding what your audience is enjoying. And sure, giving a like is easy, but leaving a comment that requires effort. And clearly,
Yeah.
for Max Miller, we're seeing double the number of comments that we're getting on Chaheti's posts, even though her average likes are much, much higher, engagement is much better, and even average views per video. So, again, comments are a great way to understand qualitatively what your audience wants. And as you mentioned, Jumam, the audience is also sharing stories, right? The audience is also sharing a lot of things. It's also almost become like a community where they discuss things. On short form, I don't think that's possible. People will perhaps leave like a snarky comment, because think about it,
Yeah.
right? You don't have too much of time to write a comment, and even if you do write a lengthy comment, I don't think people are going to see it, because your automatic, the way you want to go ahead with it is that you just want to scroll to the next one. So a very
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting way of like how these things have sort of combined, which is psychology, UI UX, and obviously engagement with the creators. So very interesting how it is. And tasting history has also obviously done a great job with what he's been doing, right? If you look at the
Yeah.
comments analysis as well, 73% actually has been positive, right? Like you have a lot of positive sentiment towards that. And of course then you have intent to buy products as well, so you all can analyze comments, which I think is very interesting as well, because you get to understand what people are sort of going through. And this is obviously done by AI. In terms of subscribers and likes growth, Shubham, I would say it's similar, right? Like you still
Yeah.
see, you
Quite
have in
similar.
fact exponential growth for our man Max Miller here. But for her subscriber for his subscribers as well, it's been on a great trajectory. Sure, it's not been as fast as Chaheti, right? It's not been as rapid as her, but at the same time, I think it's been going well. And if you look at the audience, right, something which we were discussing, Shubham, which is 69.2% of his audience are male,
Yeah.
right? So you
Males.
don't have the female audience of the young female crowd, perhaps, of what the entire
Yeah.
Chaheti's audience was going through. You have a lot of people from the states. India
Yeah.
is perhaps, oh, India is not even
Nowhere
there.
there. Yeah.
It's nowhere there.
Not even
So
there.
so again, big lesson for creators, that if you should lean into your geographical advantage, right? So Shahiti, if she
Yeah.
would do
Correct.
something like a tasting history, perhaps it wouldn't really click. But because she's literally rooted in spice, I think that really helps. She's really leaning into that, and
Yeah.
Indians are loving it. and saw the Americans, saw the others. So some really interesting insights here. I think Insight IQ is a great way to understand, what the analysis is really of these numbers, and really getting the meaning behind the numbers, right? Because numbers in itself can be quite arbitrary, but they're a great way to understand the meaning behind it. So I think that's been great. But tell me what your overall thoughts are, Shubham. I think we've done a very interesting creator deep dive so far, to understand how these creators are different. But in general, what would be your closing thoughts towards shorts, and because shorts is obviously, you have Neil Mohan's
Yeah.
interview with Colin and Sabir, where he does speak about shorts and how important it is for their platform. But do tell me what your feelings are towards shorts. Do you think it's worth growing? Do you think creators should have a separate shorts channel, should keep creating shorts? What's it like for you?
I don't think you should do both.
Hmm.
Maybe a controversial opinion, because
Hmm.
for Chaheti, for example, I don't think she has to spend much of her time, on creating videos. She's just shooting, let's say, one video might take 2 hours, from pre-production to production. You're set to go. But when you're, Max Miller, you have to become a, brand. You're a
Hmm.
kind of a storyteller. You have to be constantly, traveling. You're, creating things not just on YouTube, but of course, in terms of food. You're looking for history lessons.
Hmm.
So I think when you're creating short form, you're all in.
Hmm.
That's what I'm seeing.
Hmm.
Of course, depends on the category what
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
working on. But long form involves, research. I guess more research,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Short form also requires, because let's say you're trying to bring out, spicy, let's say, stories out of one culture, and bring it to another. You need an angle, right?
Hmm.
But to tell a long form story, you need a, let's say, weeks time, 10 days time to prepare one episode. And
Hmm.
I'm giving you like very short period of time here. People
Hmm.
take much longer.
Absolutely.
So I don't think creators should do both.
Hmm.
It's better to, do it separately.
Hmm.
And whilst I agree with you that you don't need to create a separate channel for shorts,
Hmm.
I don't think you should be, looking at a different kind of format altogether. Because
Hmm.
biggest example, Mr. Beast, look at Mr. Beast's, shorts.
Hmm.
They suck.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
terrible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the recent one where he goes to Mark Cuban and asks for 1 million, and he says no, and
Yeah.
he comes back. There's nothing there.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Mr. Beast's videos are already very, dense, and they feel
Correct.
like, elongated short. So you don't need
Correct.
to, I guess, change your tactics. And I mean, I like both,
Hmm.
but I just can't get into the, ecosystem of shorts because the comment section is not very accessible.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it depends on your niche. It depends on, how much time you have. Yeah.
Yeah, like again, it's a very always a very interesting question, and always a very like you're always in two minds as to what can be the correct answer, because there really is none. I feel, but in my opinion, like if let's say a Max Miller would create like a behind the scenes, or like a, like did you know
Oh
that on
yeah.
the Titanic this was the menu, and then now you have this interesting feature on shorts where you can directly link it to your main video, right? So I think for Max, it would perhaps be a great discovery mechanism, right? Where you're having these short form content, and sure, that won't be his mainstay, but mostly
Yeah.
like people to get to hook people in, and then they can continue watching the main long form video, as it were. So I think that can be a strategy or that can be a tactic really that Max can apply. For Chaheti, I would love to know more about her. Like, I think I've just seen her in like those little 15-second videos,
Yeah.
and just seeing, okay, one particular, but a vlog in a day in Shahiti's life, I would be very, very interested to see it, right? In terms of what she's been doing. So I think that form of long form will be a great tactic for her. Again, not going fully into it, but then trying out these new techniques. Yeah,
Yeah. And Shri, we need to mention something really important here,
yeah,
like how much you're earning, per
yeah.
what is your RPM, when it
Correct,
comes to
correct.
shorts versus long form. You earn
Absolutely.
like around 8 cents
Right.
per, 1,000 views on shorts, and you earn $8 per 1,000 views for a video.
Absolutely. That's a very
That
important
too.
metric.
Yeah, so you need to consider this as well. Like, of course, the revenue matters for a
Correct.
creator. So, whilst shorts may get you many views, but that may not necessarily translate into big numbers of, let's say, revenue. and it applies to videos as well. So
Absolutely. Each
that,
view on a
yeah,
long form is more
yeah,
precious and it's much more rich and dense that way. So really worth experimenting and really worth seeing. These two, both these creators are really exciting. Shubham, in my opinion, in terms of what Jayati is doing, what Max is doing, very interesting channels. I hope you folks check out these two channels as well and support them on their journey. But you support them and you also support us here on Thousand Faces Club, because we come up with very interesting videos every week, right? It's about the creator economy and it's to make sure that you don't feel lonely in your journey of being a creator. So hit that big subscribe button if you haven't already, because we keep coming with videos. Tell us in the comments, because this is a long form video, as Shubham would
yeah.
concur. This is a long form video, so you can share your stories with us. You can share your comments with us. So tell us in the comments what you felt about this new format. What do you feel about shorts versus long form? And we will see you in the next video for Creator Deep Dive. I'm Shrivar.
I'm Shubham.
All right, we'll see you next week. Bye bye.